So welcome back, guys. For today and tomorrow I have got a project to do which I think will be actually pretty quick. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This is the giant shed that my dad and I completed a few months ago, and it has been really great for what I need it for, and I've pretty well filled it up. I usually have the trailer in it over there, so it's usually pretty jam-packed full, but there's one issue right here on this side that we need to take care of. So right now it's about 4:45 in the afternoon, and you can see I'm getting a whole lot of just direct sunlight on this side of the shed. This shed does a really good job all throughout the day, but then for a few hours in the late afternoon, it's just direct sunlight on this side of the shed. So what I want to do is I want to put a wall up here, and what that's going to help do is that's going to help prevent sun damage on this side of the tractor. And I know this is probably sounding a lot like a first world problem. What's the big deal about having a two-tone Kubota tractor? Well, it's ugly for one thing, and number two, it's going to eat up on the rubber on the tires too. So I'd like to prevent that for as long as possible and try to get a wall up here to kind of keep things looking decent in there. And on top of that, I'm going to have a 15-foot wall here. I'll be able to put shelves on it, and I'll be able to hang tools on it, and that'll get some stuff kind of out of the way as well. And I know a lot of y'all have been around long enough to remember the original shed wall that was those really nice cedar boards. Well, I'm happy to tell you that they're going to go back up. Those boards have been hanging out right here for quite some time, and it is just about time to get them back up on the shed.
Hole there.
So I can put a board in there so I can support the wall.
Oh.
You gotta do it hard. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Oh.
When are we to put it back in there?
The dirt?
Yeah.
Probably gonna put gravel in there.
Why did it fall when we were...
I told you could do it. Put that in there. There you go. You did good. Thank you. Hmm?
Why has it been a long time?
Long time for what?
A long time for this.
Stuff takes a long time, buddy. Hey. Oh no, that's not right. That's got to be higher. Some more gravel in that hole. Much. So all I did here was go buy a couple of pressure treated 2x8s and stick it up here to the outside of the header, because the outside of this header and the outside of these telephone poles is already about 7.5 inches. So it worked out pretty good. So all I had to do was draw a couple of strings between the two telephone poles and make the board right here even with those strings on the top and the bottom. It won't be perfect on the top, unfortunately, because it was just a tad narrower up there, maybe a 1/2 inch or so. But I'm not going to lose a whole lot of sleep over that. So at this point, all we need to do is put the boards up. And I'm sure that y'all noticed, but I'm going to some pretty great lengths to preserve these 2x8s here. I've actually got a little coat of burned motor oil on the bottoms, as well as gravel on the bottom and the sides, because once I purchased, or once I paid for these 2x8s, I discovered they were actually the pressure treated type that were not for ground contact, so not quite as treated as I would have liked. But I think they'll be okay with the extra lengths that I've gone to help preserve them there. So I think I made a very serious miscalculation on my 2x8s here. I sure did. Oh man. My original plan at the start of this video was to put these cedar boards horizontal, but what I really actually wanted to do in the first place was to put them vertical. And thankfully these cedar boards are just a little bit too short, so we're going to put them vertical. And thankfully I just happen to have some 15-foot boards right here lying around, and those are going to make a perfect foundation to screw onto. All right, guys, so I have made a pretty big mistake here. So my original thought here was to just make these boards a little bit shorter and have a gap right up here so that a little bit of light could get in, and so it wouldn't be so dark in the shed in there. But it looks so bad. I can't even stand it. The boards, it looks incomplete. I'm not going to be able to do this. So I've got more boards, and I'm going to start over and go all the way up to the roof with these and notch out for those rafters. Here's a view of the inside right here, and you can see there is a little bit of light coming in up there, but I just don't think it's worth it. It looks so bad. It looks incomplete. It just looks like a halfway job. I'm gonna have to redo it. I don't like that very much. That's better.
Can I stay over here?
Yes, you can stay over here.
Okay.
What you been doing?
I've been playing.
Okay.
Are you still building the wall?
I sure am.
Oh. I found...
What did you think?
I thought the wall was always here.
No, not quite. I'm almost done though.
Are you about to put a board here?
I sure am. You might need to move. Wow, what was I thinking? What do you say? What do you say?
Fun vlog.
There you go.
I found a place to tear it.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to tear it.
That's noise, Beagle.
Well, that worked out really, really good. I had to take this board back down and trim off these supports, these purlins, whatever you call them there. But overall, it turned out pretty good. I think it looks pretty good. Those headers I finally trimmed up. Those have been sticking out into the weather for the last several months since we got this shed finished. So I know I'm going to get some comments about all these gaps and stuff. Well, my thought was, you know, it's kind of a rustic shed, and I like it rustic, and I'll probably end up keeping it this way. I'm sure it would look a lot cleaner with some battens in between those boards, but I don't know. We'll see. If it gets to where I can't stand it and think it's too ugly, I can take it back. Well, I can put some purlins up, not some purlins. I can put some battens up, so that's not a big deal. But at this point, all we really need to do is get some shelves up on the inside, and I think we'll be good. Oh, that is so wrong.
Dad, I'm not a scammer.
You got a what?
A scammer from the board.
A splinter?
Yeah, a splinter.
Through your gloves?
Yeah.
Well, guys, I think we're going to call this project done. We just created quite a bit more space for tools to hang and for stuff to go on shelves, whatever needs to go on these shelves. A little motor oil up there right now. A couple of ladders right in this area right here. That little short one could hang, but that bigger one just has to rest on the ground. So yeah, that was really good. Lots of extra space now, and now the tractor is not going to have to endure the evening sun anymore, so that's a good deal. And this right up here was the reason that I took the whole thing down earlier. You see now the top up there, the top of these boards is meeting the roof, and it looks a whole lot cleaner. Of course, it's still pretty rough. You can see holes like right up there. That right there was where these boards were on the original shed, and those had to be notched out for the rafters on the original shed. So it's pretty rustic. We're going to call it rustic, I guess, but it looks a lot better than the way that I originally had it. The bottom's pretty rough too, but I kind of like it. I think it looks good rough like this, and if I get too tired of it, I can always put battens in the middle of it. So good deal. I like this. And of course, most projects tend to breed other projects. All I can think about now is how to put a wall right through here from that corner right there where the ladders are all the way to over there to what would be the back of the original shed. I think this would be a great little room for a 2 or maybe even a three-sided area right here. So yeah, that's a future project, but I think this one turned out pretty good. Turned out that it took a little bit longer than I expected. I think I guessed it 2 days, and I worked on it just a few hours every day for about 3 days. So still pretty good, I think. And I appreciate y'all watching. I'll see y'all on the next one.